PVZ action to start things off. On the bracket stage, we've got the red Zerg in the bottom right. He is DRG. Facing off against the blue Protoss in the northwest, one of my absolute favorite North American StarCraft players of all time. He is Astrea. Korean Starleague runs every week, put on by some wonderful individuals, and Chicken Man and Dave Testa, SC, just giving the Korean players more opportunities to compete, and of course, always giving us more ways to enjoy high-level StarCraft. So that is exactly what we are going to do. DRG very quickly takes the third base, expand to start this one off. He's not interested in messing with Astrea. Astrea is an absolute wild card of a player. Burst onto the scene, mostly doing either strategies that were considered to be too crazy for anybody else or too greedy for anybody else. But he's come in and become such a strong opponent in these games, and he really is just fantastic. So yeah, he's good. What is his icon? That is a good question. I do not know. I don't know what that is. It does scare me though. I don't know if that's licensed. Let's look away from that. Let's look away from that. Astrea. This is what we expect out of him. Quick Expo. Then the Nexus. Then the Core. Overlord is gonna come in and not see anything too crazy. Nothing insane. And usually this is when you come down and take the natural with that drone, but he's actually sending it over to this natural to mine. Well, he doesn't have to go immediately up to 3 bases. Probably worth pointing out, but I didn't see the probe there, so maybe that one's just on me. Astrea is going to come down and patrol by the third, so he wants to see when are Lings coming out, how many drones he's sending down here. It's not a crazy fast third base play. DongRaeGu is the kind of player, historically, he loves to get aggro. Loves to get aggressive. We talk about big pushes, Ling, Bane, Ravager, Roaches over the years, you name it. Astrea is a player that can do big 2-base pushes, can also play the extreme greed fast third macroeconomic style. I do not know too much about how he's been enjoying his PvZ lately. There are, of course, there's the buff, right? That kind of slipped in. I don't know if they're playing with that enabled or not. I know that there's a third-party mod available to undo the Colossus range buff, but since it's not an official Blizzard thing, I know people are like a little bit skeptical of it. I don't think they're using it for this tournament. I guess we'll find out if we get to the point of Colossus being made with that research. Comes up, gets the deny on the Creep Tumor. Very big pickup. Another one will get planted down by DRG. And Astrea's Stargate is going to finish. Typically, out of Astrea, I would say... Oh, he's already got the second one queued up. I was going to say, he probably 2 to 3. I could see him going up to 3 Oracles pretty easily. I can also see him stopping at 2. He's not as much a psychopath with it. But he is one of those guys that if he thinks that you're being really greedy and maybe he can get away with the extra one, then you can never be too sure. But this is a little more in line with what I was expecting. Quick pylon, Nexus block on the third base. DRG does have a decent amount of Zerglings making their way across the map. He knows, well, he should know anyway. How many Zerglings total? 13? I don't think that's enough. The probe is here to body block as well, so they can't get a surround on the Adept. And even keeping one of the Oracles back, I think, is a big move. Oh, he actually brought the other one back. I was looking for it across the map. Like, did he just said one? No, he wants to keep the third base alive. Sometimes you'll see Zerg players really flood out the Lings, but then it becomes a little bit of a coin flip. Like, if you either get the cancel and you're in a really great spot because you made the Lings and shut it down, or you don't get the cancel and you're in a really bad spot because you made the Lings and now you just don't really have supply for anything else. So, coming in with the Adepts onto the third base. One of them getting very low in terms of actual health. The other one getting a decent amount of kills. I think 5 drones is not too bad. 5 drones considering the amount. If we consider the fact that the third base is going up completely uninhibited, he's got the battery, he's got it mostly set. Unless these Lings come in and do critical damage, I love it. I think that 5 drones there is totally fine. He didn't lose the weak Oracle either. He has 3 on the map. He's going for a 4th, so I can't complain. I can't complain at all. Shout out to my boy Astrea, doing well here. Me trying to be really biased. What I meant to say was shout out to Juggernaut Jason, who just raided the stream while we were casting these. So if you're watching on the YouTube video, you are now legally obligated. If you've heard this little spiel, you're now legally obligated to type "Thanks for the raid, Jason. We love you" in the comments section. I'm gonna gamble. Maybe 1 or 2 people will write it. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Okay. Thanks for the raid, Jason. We love you, bro. So Astrea's got his 3rd base all set up nice and tidy. He hasn't really taken any damage. The oracles on the map give him the ability to control the space. It's hard to move out with lings or roaches against this many oracles, especially when you're doing the 4-oracle build. I don't even know where the 4th one went. I'm trying to keep track of his units, and it's not easy. So he's coming up here with some of the stalkers. So keep in mind, there's no blink, there's no charge, there's no forge upgrades of any kind in play. It's just straight up this little trap to give a staging ground, so to speak, and then maybe try to bait into that. So the Adepts, maybe he was hoping to catch the Lings. He actually does get them in the stasis, and now there's nothing here to stop the Adepts. If he F2A moves, okay, he did just finish some at the base. But that opens things up rather nicely for Astrea, so he comes in and he's able to get a significant amount of drones for 2 Adepts. These Lings are all still backed up here. The Oracles have so much energy now making their way into the main base. Looked like he might try to split there. He did click on this. He saw the infestation pit. We saw that blue ring around it, so we know that he had it selected. DRG is feeling the pressure. He needs to do something. His +1 melee is done. He's got a lot of Lings. But look at this wall off. Astrea gets 2 more gateways to block it. There's the stasis ward. Excuse me, I'm struggling to get words out of my mouth. Good block, though. And is he going to try to rebuild it around the Lings? His Zealot's in the way. That's a little awkward. I don't know how the pathing works in that scenario. And now, when you've got this many Oracles and this much energy and you don't want to lose them, you can just clear creep. This is probably the biggest dub that DRG is going to catch so far in this series as, well, we're in the first game, so there's not too many other dubs he could have caught. Gets the cancel on the 4th base. No kill, just a cancel, but still pretty decent setup. Shout out to my boy Dave Testa actually in the chat during this. One of the legends that helps make this event happen every week. Yeah, that's right. I'm casting some KSL games today. I got Anakitos hooked me up, so now I can do my fancy 4K recordings on the stream PC again. Literal based god of all time. And of course, the first thing I wanted to do once I could record in 4K again was, well, record some games. So here we are. Huge stasis. Ugh. He's trapped in time. Not even 88 miles an hour will get you out of this one, Morty. We got all kinds of references here. That's right. Come on down. Nothing like random reference generator. That's why they called me the first language learning model, except it was just memes. The Zealots are backed up into quite a corner. The High Templar soaked about 3,000 damage from those Zerglings, though, from the shield battery, so decent hold there from Astrea. He does have the charge now, so the Zealots are getting a little bit better. He's got a tremendous amount of support. He's got a tremendous setup to continue to move forward. Because DRG took a lot of damage early on. So he has a lot of units because it's just Lings, but this doesn't beat an army. And eventually, I don't really know if he's too worried about Storm, but I think Astrea he's got to be anticipating that the Hive tech has to be the direction, right? Because he saw the infestation pit. Yeah, he knows. We can see. This is his vision right now. He sees that there are lurkers. But he saw the infestation pit a long time ago, and even though he knew that the tech was there, it's still only been Lings attacking him. So if you're a Protoss player and your opponent is only running around with Lings, and they're not sending any gas units at you, at some point or another, you're probably gonna start to assume, ooh, I like that. I mean, that's just a nice little sight to behold. At some point, you're going to assume that your opponent is teching up really hard. If they're making nothing but Lings, there's probably some very, 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 very fast tech transition coming. So if you take a look at DongRaeGu, he's on 4 bases. He has been pressured a lot. He's had a lot of his drones get poked. He's only lost 13 in total, but it feels like more because of how early those attacks were. the Adept slipping into his base, but we've got fully upgraded lurkers. We don't have the tunneling adaptive talons yet for the fast burrow, but we do have range, which is the more important one, at least defensively, anyway. The repositioning upgrade is a big deal, by the way. I'm not trying to diminish it. But if you ask Nathaniel, I'm always going to tell you I prefer range first. I always like range upgrades first. So oracles are going to get recalled. He realizes now the lurkers are at his front door. So maybe it really is that just rush up to the tech, and he just gets a little bit blindsided by how fast this came in. He thought the attack was going to go into their base. The High Templar are going to get surrounded by all of the Zerglings, so he storms himself to kill the Lings. But the Immortals are exposed. Okay, they don't die, though. 2 Immortals live with less than 20 health. Like, is that why they're called that? Haha, bottomch. There's not really anti-air here, though, so the Oracles should be able to microwave this army. I'm thinking, like the Walmart White Castle burgers in the freezer section. They're never as satisfying as just going to Brooklyn and getting fresh White Castle, but he's able to clean that up pretty nicely regardless. They could still get the job done. Completely unrelated tangent. I had a frozen White Castle burger the other day. Cheeseburger variant, of course. It was all right. Little Ling counterattack tries to slip through while Astrea moves across the map. He is going to get shut down. Astrea loves his feng shui. If he was an Animal Crossing town, he'd probably have the max rating. Storm's on the ramp to push back. The lurkers are pretty deeply entrenched, however. I'd love to see these rocks get knocked down by DRG so he can kind of funnel him into the choke more, but maybe that gives him too much space. I don't know. There's actually, maybe they can knock the rocks on the lurkers. I'm getting all excited thinking about destructible rocks. That's probably a bad sign. There are a lot of Immortals, but there's no support for them anymore. There's nothing to keep them up. So they get smashed down by the Hydra Ling, and that's the other side of it. Hydra Ling is a setup that can make you do just so much damage. You could just get so much done with that. While Astrea tries to take this north 5th base, DRG's just like, I'm glad that you wasted all those resources defending the bottom left because I'm never going to attack it. Says I'm never attacking this base. Never. So the lurkers have the high ground, but the revelation is giving the vision, and this is where it gets tricky because every time that those hydras all get popped, well, he only has 1 oracle now, so yeah, maybe this is where things turn. And by that I mean DRG is up 70 supply. Astrea's 5th base is largely forfeit. His 3rd base is dead. Now he just has his 4th. There is a Zealot counterattack taking place, but it's just not enough. DRG went attack upgrades only this game. That might actually be the sickest thing. He's only got +1 on the lurkers, but his Zerglings, we talked about it, Ling, 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 it's just been Lings all game. He has Adrenal Glands and +3 melee. And I would say how impressive that is at the 13-minute mark, but I wasn't paying attention, so it may have been done by the 11-minute mark. Case in point, nice work, son. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I will show up to that PTA meeting just to tell them how amazing you are. I won't tell them that I was too lazy to get a doctor's note for you and that you were skipping school and leave you out to dry. Yeah, DRG's just playing a little too fast now. I thought that we had a really good start to this one for Astrea, but then you kind of get stretched apart by how big the maps are. He tries to go over from that 3rd base to the north side of the 4th rather to the north side of the 3rd. And he just gets completely pulled apart. The fact that DRG did it with just Zerglings is always very impressive to me. Was able to get all the way up to the Hive Tech and make this transition without needing to spend too much else. That's the downside of the greedy way. Like when you try to take that 3rd base as fast as Astrea did, and you kind of signaling to the Zerg player that they can just do nothing but slam that drone key down, and then you just get overwhelmed. GG! DongRaeGu takes the first map. What an absolute god Adonis Giga Chat. And I'll hide the little guy when we're not in there so I don't accidentally spoil anything. DRG is a Ling Master. Yeah, seriously. Seriously though, he was in a pretty dire position there. I really felt like the Oracles and Adepts did more damage, but I guess not. I guess not really. Let's go to game number dos. In the top left, he's blue. Abadi Abadai. He's Astrea. In the bottom right, he's red. Loving him was red. He's DRG. It's the first song that came to mind when I heard the color, okay? I'm sorry. I guess we could have went with Roxanne, but I don't think Roxanne's ever made it to the top of StarCraft ladder. I have seen Taylor Swift in Grandmaster. I can confirm, so it's actually canon. It's a canon event. Drone's gonna go take the third for DRG. This is pretty standard fare. The probe comes over 99% of the time. The Zerg player, you do not want to play ball. You don't want to mess with this guy. Anybody that regularly watches StarCraft knows it's just such a standard thing. I always feel like I need to say it in case someone that doesn't understand comes in. Since this is gonna live in like a video somewhere forever, I'm like, yes. Well, you see, if the Zerg player could take his natural, he probably would. But it's just, you know, there are so many scenarios that have played out where it's just there's nothing you can really do. That blah 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 blah. Okay, let's just look at this again while we wait for the action to kick up. What the hell is that? Is that SOS's face stretched out over? Is that a penguin from Madagascar? Is that what I'm... There's something like mesmerizing about watching it as it spins, too. Yeah. It has to be. I feel like it has to be, yeah. Those eyes, those are the eyes of a serial killer. And the only Korean serial killers I know are Hero and SOS, so I feel like it's gotta be. Even with the distorted face, I'm pretty sure that's not Hero. Not because I have an entire folder dedicated to him with 40 high-resolution transparent PNGs. But if I did, then that's why I would know. Overlord comes over. He should be able to get vision of the Adept coming out for Astrea. And he will plant his tech in the main base once more. It is a Stargate again. It's tough to move out on the map early if you don't have a way to get home. If you step a little bit too far and you overextend, there are so many ways that you can lose a game of StarCraft, no matter what race you play. So, it stands to reason that the Stargate opener will forever be a key staple of PvZ. If you don't want to get jumped by lings, you need to be able to either have a recall to go home, which you can't really rely on that because it's more of an emergency recall than anything else. So, your other option is, well, the Adept has a little bit more mobility, so we get to see this go in, get some scout, trying to send it to this top side in case he can kill a drone. Really love that use of the map and the terrain by Astrea, almost with the very early drone kill. The worker counts are so low right now, every worker that you could pick off would be worth quite a bit. Just going to instead grab a link, teleport back over to the third. Now, if I was Astrea, I would just suicide that Adept trying to grab the creep tumor. That's what I would have gone for. Probably would have thrown the game away, instantly lost it. No hope sort of situation. Instead, he will send the Adept back home, but then there's the speed link, so he's going to try and wait that timer out. Is he going to make? Nope. No, he does not. So that's why everybody opens Stargate every game. So you can get something out on the map that you can bring home if you want. Now, here's the issue. Compared to the first map, he can't put the Adept between the Nexus and the Pylon. So it looks like Astrea wanted to do basically the same thing he did in Game 1, except he lost the Adept, and he had to use the Oracle energy to kill the Lings. Which makes me feel not super great. Not super great for him. So that is definitely a difficult spot to be in. So he's going to come back up one more time with this Oracle. I'm going to assume he'll probably build up to maybe 3 again. Well, why stop? You know he's making nothing but lings all game. He's gonna go massling until he has lurker range, and then lurkers will just burrow outside your third and snipe it. So the lings do force the Oracle to come back and spend its energy. Both Oracles in vision here. So DRG knows exactly what's happening. Now, what is DRG doing on his side of the map? It's like we said before. In Game 1, he droned up, took an infestation pit, and then just went straight into that Ling Hydra lurker setup. And he got it so fast. We were talking about +3 melee being done by that 13-minute mark. Well, that's It starts somewhere, and it starts right here. +1 melee at the 5-minute mark. So if he continues this chain all the way up, if we assume that his plan is to continue these upgrades for the Lings non-stop while the Oracles are defended by the Queens, look at this. He doesn't even have a Spore Crawler in that 3rd base. He gets away with a lot. The Natural has a Spore, but 3 drones will get picked off. So he gets a little bit of value for his money. He gets a little bit of value. But again, we're looking at a scenario that is still pretty close to that game 1 setup. And he's not done as much as he did in that game. And that's why I'm nervous. He tries to come up one more time, just nothing doing whatsoever. He cannot find purchase. By this point in game 1, he had killed about 13 drones, so he's gotten less than half of that now. But he's going into Blink this time, so we're not going to see the Storm, Charge Lot, Archon, Immortal, at least not in the way that we might expect. He might go in there as a follow-up to this, but I think he wants to be a little more aggressive. If you guys remember in game 1, he moved out with Stalkers and Oracles, but he didn't have Blink, he didn't have +1. There's no Robo. In this game, there is a Robo. Probably worth pointing out. There's no Warp Prism, so he still doesn't really have an exit strategy. His plan would mostly be fight, micro, kite with Blink, and then maybe recall if he gets completely surrounded. But he's hoping that the Stalkers can just trade out while the Oracles kill the Lings. So in a direct fight, that makes it a little bit easier. These Lings are going to look for that opportunity. Let's see. Yeah, Astrea wants the Oracles to be able to kill all the Lings if he goes for the Stalkers. That's kind of the idea here. He's going to grab these 2 on the west side. Are they going to be able to get away? One try. Nope. And he trades a decent amount of Lings for that, but I'm not sure that it completely makes up. Let's take a look at resources lost. Barely leading is Astrea. Ling counterattack onto the 3rd. Looks to be mostly walled off, though, so Zealots get warped in to deal with it. Charge has only just begun. And, guys, I know you're worried. I'm trying to follow the action. Look, he attacks him again. I'm trying to follow the action. But I did want to update you. The Hive is on the way. +2 is on the way at 7 minutes. So it's 7:30, and it's 34 seconds done. So he started his +2 at exactly 7 minutes, which leads me to believe this Hive is going to finish, and it's the same slip and slide that he did in game 1. The Lings are just so annoying for Astrea to deal with en masse at the start. How many are on the map right now? 58. Nothing but Zerglings. And he buys so much time, takes all of his bases, and he is able to get the Hive and +3. And I love this style. Part of why it works is because he gets the early upgrade. So his Lings, Charge is not done. Astrea could have opened with Charge. He decided that wasn't how he wanted to play this matchup or how he wanted to play this series. So whether or not you think that he should have started with Charge, the reality is these Zerglings are in such numbers and with such upgrades that Stalkers, even with range, they can't really do a whole lot. We've got 8 Queens coming out, spreading a little bit of creep, and the Lurkers are on the way. So at 8 minutes and 30 seconds, we have Lurkers in production. They will have the range upgrade in about a minute, less than. It's actually crazy that Lurker range upgrade. Well, Lurkers need 2 upgrades, so I guess it makes more sense. They don't need to take forever. Since Lurkers kind of suck with even just one of them, you do want both upgrades. That Oracle tries to get between the bases and will instead just die. And there's another counterattack towards the 3rd. Stasis Trap is going to hold some of the Lings inside. So he does get 12 drones. The Oracles were able to come in and get some damage on the main base. Lurker range is done, though. +2 melee is done for DRG. His Adrenal Gland upgrade is about to finish as well, and now starts Adaptive Talent. So the Oracles get recalled out. Oh, he's trying to slip the Prism in. He's trying to get it in. Okay, he's in position, but can he defend the attack at home? Lurkers are showing up outside the base of Astrea. Knocking, and with the Overseer looking to deny any observers that come to give detection or vision, he has to be careful. The Storms are going to be coming out of the High Templar in just a moment. Can he break him? That's the question. First one is going to land, gets one of them. Still has the Revelation, so he can try to dive, but it is so hard to trade well against these. You need to just poke and prod as much as you can, but it's a spread of about still 7 lurkers. Now down to 6. Okay, he's making it a little bit more manageable. 5 lurkers left, but the base will fall. And the hard part about this, if we remember from game 1, this was the same issue, is that the robotics facility is here. So you can't really rely on observers for detection, since they die very quickly, and overseers don't die very quickly. So the Zerg will always be able to get vision of your obs, but that's what you have the oracles for. But he needs the immortals, is more the point. Like, you can't just give up your robo facility just because the other guy made lurkers. Shout out to chat pointing out that Astrea does have 69 probes. Nice. But look at this. His +3 didn't start quite as fast this game, but he's pretty on point with it. He's pretty on point with it. He's got 55 seconds underway, so his +3 is going to be done around, again, that 12, 13-minute mark. Baits out the stasis trap with a single ling. Now comes in, he's going to maybe try to snipe the High Templar that this cannon's on. Nope, shield battery is going to be able to hold it together. Going over towards the natural. Nope, there's a Roddy Zealot in the wall. He's going to instead try to take the few probes between the bases while the lurkers go to the bottom of the ramp, and he's trying to bait him. This is a field of dreams right here. Oh my god, if you build it, they will die a horrible, painful death. That is spoopy. That is absolutely spoopy. A pretty tremendous amount of lurkers here. This ground army is just monstrous, and I think because DRG gets this up so fast, the time necessary to make the transition to try to go into another tech tree completely is just not there. Because the anti-air, we talked about that being the weakness last time. There's only a handful of Hydras, but this legion of lurkers just makes it so tough. You struggle to break this with almost any ground army that would push into this, but he would, of course, love to just have a bunch of carriers right now, and so that he would need more Hydras and less lurkers. That's a part of that balance. It's part of how it works. But he might just go for the full concave, just let the Immortals step through. He spreads them out completely up the ramp, target firing, nicely done. If you lose all of the Immortals, it's no longer nicely done. But he's doing okay. He's doing okay, I'd say. Resource cost is not too far off between Immortals and Lurkers. Very similar. Very similar total cost per unit. Maybe a little more minerals on the Immortal, and that's about it. So these Lurkers are doing the same thing we saw in that first map, trying to position around that third base, just using the multiple angles available. But the difference between this map and Babylon is one of the reasons why I think Babylon is a terrible map. Here, we can see that Astrea has defender's advantage outside of his base, because there is not a high ground going down into his third like on Babylon. So it's a little bit easier for him to stave that off. That is going to enable him to get that Zealot counterattack that we saw in the first game. Also still not really do so well, but can he create an opportunity as he continues to add Tempest to his count? And DRG's going to have to keep some more Hydras available. Have to keep some more Hydralisks on retainer. There's still a lot of lurkers. The Vipers coming out are going to be a factor as well. 17 lurkers. Actually, that is pretty disgusting. That is a lot of lurkers. That is an unholy number of lurkers. Somebody asking in the chat said, Nate, what is this game from? Did you just download this replay off of a USB drive in a public gas station bathroom? No. No, my replays are thankfully all very clean. This one I got from the Korean Starleague. Number 20, played this past weekend. All the lurkers are gonna roll up and just siege on the fourth. So for the first time, he finally says, I'm gonna go to the fourth base. You did such a good job balancing the defense before, but now I'm gonna push it to the other side. And this is such a huge army. Now the Vipers are not here yet to pull the Tempest into the Hydras. What I'd like to see him do is try to cut him off on the right side, cut him off. So many people chase through this alley, and I'm like, if he had gone here onto the top of the ramp, there may have been a little bit more of an opportunity to try to get the jump on him. Just maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. He does have that north base set up, though, so he's going to try and make a move to that position. We have Void Ray speed being researched. Oh, 3 of them! 3 lurkers with less than 25 health. 4 lurkers with less than 25 health. I'm not going to lie. I'm getting a little nervous. I'm getting a little anxious. This army is crazy powerful, but now he's going back between the bases one more time. He's just going to try to snipe the base or go for the cannons. One pop, the battery overcharge is triggered on the Archons on the north side. Does have the Tempest here with the Storm, and if he picks off the Hydras, we talk about it, that's such a big deal, that anti-air. Are there enough Hydras to even kill them if he abducts? No, he feedbacks anyway. Suddenly Astrea is turning this game into a little bit of she bangs, she moves. So no, don't mind that too much, huh? The lurkers are still very weak, so if he can jump on them, that would be the dream. He just needed to get the Oracle Revelation earlier. He picks off one of the full health ones, and look at this counterattack. Massive push from DRG on the bot side. That Nexus is going to be up for grabs one more time, but I think Astrea recognizes the north base is the one that matters to him the most. And these lurkers are way less effective with the Tempest on the field to kind of zone them out. Army tries to make its move over towards the natural third valley. Not too much going there. Storms his own Zealot down to 9 health. Glad you didn't let him die. That would have hurt. That would have been a tough one. He does have some excess probes he could transfer over if he's able to take that base, because he's kind of mined out. We're in that phase of the game. The main bases are running a little low, naturals, thirds, etc. I could talk to you a little bit more about what DRG's been doing, but the reason why I don't look at his base all that much is because he spends the whole game in his opponent's base. Another push on the north side, but that Tempest count is getting scary. He's not at the point where he can just trade chip shots away anymore. Absolutely cannot. We do have a little Zealot counterattack towards the bottom. These have all been cleaned up very quickly. The ground-based attacks just have not been doing it because the upgrades are so good for DongRaeGu. He's had that +3 melee for 40 years. The Hive is very low. Maybe this is the thing that makes me annoying. Is this DRG as in DongRaeGu? Yeah, he has been playing forever. He's been playing this game for an incredibly long time. He's just an absolute. He's one of the OGs, I think, of StarCraft 2. Maybe he doesn't have the same lasting respect that other players do because he didn't win like 20 GSLs, but I mean, if you know StarCraft, if you're a fan of StarCraft, I think you have to appreciate DRG's role anyway as one of the more exciting Zerg players to watch in the early days of the game. This setup is very entrenched. It's going to come down to, he has Revelation on the Viper, so will he be able to abduct the Tempest in? I don't think so. This is, on one hand, I don't feel like DRG can fight the army. On the other hand, he cleaned the shields off the Nexus and almost killed it if he had one more opportunity to get on it. We got a Prism and an Obs in the bottom left. Somehow DRG can see it. He's got an Overlord just chilling there. One of the Vipers does get picked in the air. Remember, the Tempest anti-air range is big, so if he can see the Viper, he can just click on it. Well, not that big, but it's pretty big. About yay far. You can see the little lines. This Observer is huge, though. Very clutch. The Oracles have not really been in play. Those actually did get picked, so he had vision of the army. But does he have vision over here? I don't know if there's an Observer in this spot. Storms are going to land onto the Hydras to get some very juicy storms. So they're all low, but again, it is all about the lurkers. It's all about zoning for the lurkers. Can he get it here? Weirdly enough, the way he's rotating, the Tempest kind of, they're not really struggling too much anymore. There's the first Abducts now coming in. 2 of them are going to get popped. Gets another couple of them from another Viper. Just rolling up here on the tail end of the fight. And he loses about half the Tempest, I'd say. All the Hydras die, though, so... I mean, do they die? Yes, they all. Huh? Steven, better walk into that storm. You better take a bath. There you go. Okay. All the Hydras die, and the lurkers too? No, some of them should get away. Crazy game. DongRaeGu going off of 90 drones, and he's just been eating the map. Again, I keep going back to Astrea's base. I know that I said that I was a big fan of Astrea, that I'm incredibly biased, but I need you to forget that now. I'm not biased at all. I'm just looking at Astrea's base the whole game because, again, DRG literally just does not stop attacking. By the way, there's another one up on the top side. 2 lurkers are going to try and burrow here. There is a storm to try and shut it down. The Immortal gets the other one, and he's very close. Okay, so he cleans that lurker up. There's another push on the bottom side. Storm's going to push those Hydralisks away. There are additional lurkers in place. So DRG is throwing just a flurry of punches. Just boom, 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 boom. He's landing body blows. He's trying to gas Astrea. But somehow the young American Bucks holding up together. That said, Astrea doesn't remember what the other side of the map looks like. Astrea doesn't even, he's forgotten what a Zerg building even appears as. He's gonna try and do another little zealot poke, but this is like, you know, it's 300 minerals down the toilet. And that's not flushable either, so he's gonna have to call a plumber after this as well. It's kind of double damage. Huge spread coming. Is he going for it? Is he going for it here? He's between the bases again. It's easier for the Tempest to collapse on this, though, because the cliff doesn't really affect him in the same way. So this third base, once more, is going to be the focus of the assault. It's going to abduct 4-5 of the Tempest in. Oh, those Vipers getting huge value. No feedbacks landing. There are still the storms. We have the lurkers trying to zone out away from that. Ridiculous amount of Ling Hydra Lurker all game, going back and forth. Does finally kill the Hero Observer. That poor Hero Observer. He knew it all. He knew everything. What a god. What a Giga Chad. Giga Chad Donis. Something like, combine all the words. So the Storms are going to try and hit the Lurkers on the other side of the Stasis Trapped Lings. But it feels like the Tempests are kind of rotating a little slower than he needs them to. This base in the bottom center is getting munched on. And it's like, yeah, he's killing a lurker here and there, but it's just so difficult for him to bounce between these bases. I thought it was easy, but then I remembered that bouncing to this one doesn't really matter because there's nothing here anymore except the Robo. Does anybody remember an unpowered Robo? I don't, because we're 23 minutes into this game, but I feel like the caster mentioned it a while ago. Recall's gonna hit, but these are +3, fully upgraded adrenal gland certainly. So while he is gonna be able to clean it up, that north base is something that will end up being the crossfire. Takes out some of the defenses and pulls back. Plenty more Hydras and Lings in production. And again, DRG has the map. He's taken all the bases. He's just continuing to expand. This one's starting to run out though, so maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to come over here. Take that base next. Astrea can see.
They're attacking your base, you know.
Astrea plays with the Diva announcer? Never mind. I'm not a fan of him anymore. Everything's gonna get abducted by the Vipers. I think he might just die here. This is it. Yeah, he's getting pushed in on. It's the final defense, but I think it's just a little bit too much. A little too much Ling Hydra. That's the hard part. He gets the lurkers out so fast, and you make this colossal transition into. Oh no, look, he's trying to kite, but he's like, he can't afford to take any more hits. There's another one gone. Battery overcharge on one photon cannon does not save the day here. Is going to get a revelation onto the lurker, but there's another one, and there's so many Lings covering the top of this ramp. Can Astrea push out of his own base? It doesn't look like it. Tempest from the north, Archons on the bottom. They're going to get surrounded. The Lings are ripping and tearing through the Protoss. GG. DongRaeGu takes the dub.